Happy Thursday, Seattle hockey fans. Well, we get a game 5 between the Wranglers and the Firebirds. We'll take you back to exit interviews, this time with the game 7 hero twice over, and a few more things going around the National Hockey League. All of that coming up on this Thursday edition of Locked On Kraken.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are the Seattle Kraken.
Hey, what do you say, Seattle hockey fans? Welcome to another episode of Locked On Kraken. I'm your host, Erica L. Ayala. In addition to hosting this magnificent show, I am also your specialist for women's hockey on the Locked On NHL show, the Women's Hockey Spotlight. We'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow. And I'm the founder of Black Rosie Media, where we empower Black women and melanated creators in sports media. Thank you, as always, for making Locked On Kraken a part of your daily routine. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which means you can find us anywhere you listen to audio podcasts, including, of course, the Sirius SXM app. All you have to do is search Kraken. Thank you also for those who watch religiously on YouTube, the everydayers, whether you watch on YouTube, join us for the live watch parties, or you listen on your audio podcast platform of choice. Thank you. We've got a jam-packed episode today. We are focused on Oliver Bjorkstrand. That's right. Ollie, I saw this tweet. It was either the night that the Seattle Kraken got eliminated or the day after. But Allison Lucan tweeting that Oliver Bjorkstrand, here's a stat for you, is the only Seattle Kraken player to ever score in a postseason Game 7 in Seattle Kraken history. We're going to break down how that came to be. And we'll take you to Oliver Bjorkstrand talking about, and he was pretty honest about how he felt coming in to training camp with the Seattle Kraken. You may remember, if you're an everydayer, that I got to ask him about being on his honeymoon. He was in South Africa, the Rainbow Nation, which I got to visit when I was in college. Love that country. But he was in South Africa on his honeymoon when he found out he was coming to the Seattle Kraken. Talked about being a dad, his wife's pregnancy, them having the child, what the offseason is going to look like. So if you don't already, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube page, because you can watch and listen to all of Oliver Bjorkstrand's media availability. That's going to be up on the YouTube page, and I'll give you snippets on today's episode. Before we do that, let's just go back to the playoffs. I forgot to talk about this yesterday, but I want to show you a graphic. Everydayers, you should recognize this, but these were our Locked On NHL Pacific Division power rankings. The Seattle Kraken at 7. Oh, but wait, we ended up making the postseason as a wild card, and here are some numbers for you. Kraken versus Stars Game 7 delivers impressive viewership. Seattle Kraken Dallas Game 7 averaged 7.75 million total viewers and 1.3 million per, I don't know what, P18 4019 viewers. The Seattle Kraken Dallas Game 7 averaged 2.75 million total viewers per NHL and ESPN. Viewership peaked at 3.7 million total viewers. This is the third most viewed second round game ever on cable. That's our guys. And Oliver Bjorkstrand was a huge part of Game 7s for the Seattle Kraken. Let's head over to Oliver Bjorkstrand from his exit interview earlier this week. He's first going to talk just about adjusting to things, and then you'll hear him talk about his line and taking on the top opponents from the opposition.
Luck to start the season, but you're able to kind of come out the other end, score some big goals in the playoffs. What does it do for your confidence knowing that you can get past a scoring slump like that?
Yeah, I just stick with it. I thought I played okay in the beginning of the season. I didn't get, I don't know if you call it puck luck or whatever, but obviously I had to tweak some things. But I felt comfortable with how I was playing. So for me, it was just sticking with it, not panic, trust the process in a way. So eventually you start feeling better and it just comes more natural. So that's just what goes through my mind when I'm in times like that.
Ollie, you had so much change on and off the ice this season. What maybe helped you stay focused and grounded as you went through that? How do you think you did dealing with so much being different now versus a year ago?
No, it's a lot of change. Moving cross country in mid of the summer with honeymoon and so on, and then finding out my wife is pregnant. So no, a lot of credit to her making it easy for me, making me feel comfortable here and so on. So I owe her a lot. But obviously coming in next year, it's even more comfortable. I know the guys, I know the organization, I know what they expect and practices and so on. So definitely have no excuses next year.
You settled into that Gord line, and you guys got a lot of asks for big responsibility minutes. How did that feel to you personally? And then also, what do you think made your line so successful and such a key part of this team?
We found good chemistry. We found a way to play and be comfortable playing that way and have success. So not that I need to go into details of how we're playing. I think you know that. But no, we just, it was good chemistry on and off the ice, honestly. So we're just, most importantly, I feel like our communication within the line was really good. And for most of the time, we were just really on the same page, which is huge.
How did you see Tolby kind of come? He joins the team, he doesn't play for a little while. How did you guys come to learn his game? Was it through practices and then it fit easily, or was it still building as a trio?
I think it kind of showed, quickly. I mean, he was obviously coming in hungry, right, to prove himself, and I think he saw an opportunity, and we kind of grabbed it right away. He helped us, and I think we helped him. So, no, I think the coaches saw that kind of chemistry right off the bat, and that's why the line was pretty much aligned the rest of the season.
So there you go, Oliver Bjorkstrand. Again, head over to our YouTube page if you want to hear more from Oliver Bjorkstrand. He was very thoughtful with his answers. He really got into some things, including, you heard him allude to it, but Oliver Bjorkstrand talking about generally first, but then also specifically to him about how important it is for guys to do what they need in the off season. And he felt that coming off of an injury, a surgery, the wedding, the honeymoon, that he wasn't as sharp in hindsight as he wanted to be. Alluded to that in that clip that I just showed you, that being a part of his slow start. But let's talk about what Oliver Bjorkstrand did do for us. So we're over at NHL.com. For those not watching on YouTube, don't worry, I will walk you through everything. But we see in the playoffs, he played all 14 games. He scored 4 goals, had 4 assists for 8 points overall, and big goals in game 7s. He is the only player to score in Seattle Kraken history in game 7s. His career playoffs, you can see that he's got 20 points overall, also an even split. He likes things split right down the middle, which I love. And we see that he played 81 games for the Seattle Kraken, 45 points overall. And as he said, it was a little bit of a slow start. Some people saying, is he a bust? He got a lot of those assists early on, though. And honestly, Bjorkstrand hit about as many posts as anyone else in the NHL and probably could have had a lot more goals. But yes, this was a player that we thought could be a 30-goal scorer for us. Came up shy of that. We, of course, had the amazing Jake Foster talking about that when we signed Bjorkstrand in the offseason, but it just didn't manifest. And again, Bjorkstrand talking a little bit about why he felt that might have been the case. So he wants to be all about no excuses coming up. And you know what? I thought he played well. And so if he's going to be locked and loaded, no excuses, then we will take it. All right. Um, I also just want to talk a little bit about, I mentioned that the goal scoring for the Seattle Kraken, Bjorkstrand, just a really smart player. He's a finicky player, and I'm looking forward to what he will bring to the team. Now, we're going to run through the exit interviews, but then after we have the exit interviews, we're going to really get into, we're going to go over where the Seattle Kraken are when it comes to salary cap, who are the unrestricted free agents, who are the restricted free agents, what is this roster gonna look like? So that's what we're building toward, just so you know. So if you're an everydayer, you'll come along that journey with us. If you bounce in here and there, make sure that you stay tuned, because we are going to be talking about what this roster could look like. And I have to say, I keep this deck of cards that I have from the Seattle Kraken. Always at the top is my guy, Ryan Donato. And just a little teaser, spoiler alert, I think it's going to be a tough go to keep Ryan Donato with us. It was a really painful offseason for the Donato fan base, as he was late to signed less than Morgan Geeky, signed a 1 year. So we'll see what happens to Donnie Boy, but there are going to be some other players that maybe have a difficult time making this roster. But that's all to come, as we are now in our off-season coverage. But coming up next on Locked On Kraken, we're going to take you over to Game 4 between the Calgary Wranglers and our Coachella Valley Firebirds. They're going to Game 5, and we'll give you the details. That's going to be tomorrow. So tomorrow's another game day. We got to get fired up for the Coachella Valley Firebirds, try to help them advance in the Calder Cup Playoffs. That's coming up on Locked On Kraken. Right now, though, on the show, I am going to tell you about a new sponsor. Mentioned them yesterday, and that's Birddogs. Now, I know that Lizzo talks about thick thighs saving lives, but I can tell you what thick thighs don't save. Thick thighs don't always save you the pain of not finding pants and shorts that fit you. I became a dress gal later in life because these thighs just couldn't fit in the pants. And so, again, Birddogs, not necessarily leaning towards the thicker waisted, the thicker thigh community on the women's side, definitely a company that caters more to the men folk, but I did get a pair of Birddogs and was able to send over my measurements. They did their little magic, and I can tell you that these are some pretty nice fitting shorts. They fit comfortably on my waist. They definitely give me enough room on the thigh. And so I have been appreciating that. They have a stretchy fabric that makes anyone's legs look great. You look better and you feel great wearing Birddogs. And so we want to let you know that you can go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNHL. And when you enter promo code Locked On NHL, it's right at the bottom of your screen. If you are watching on YouTube, it's in the show notes. If you are listening on audio, and also it's in the show notes on YouTube. But anyway, use code Locked On NHL, and with your order, you'll get a Birddogs, Yeti style tumbler with every single order. So check out Birddogs, the most comfortable, the best fit, and the most versatile pants and shorts you ever find. Thanks as always for making Locked On Kraken a part of your daily routine. We are welcoming back our everydayers. Lindsay, we know you're an everydayer that was joining us in the watch party. Striatic, we know you're an everydayer that joins us in the YouTube comments. We want to thank you so much for listening and making us a part of your daily routine. All right. Talked about Bjorkstrand, the only Seattle Kraken player to ever score in a Game 7 in the postseason. And Bjorkstrand's goal, with my reaction video, I actually forgot to post the long reaction video, so that should be up on YouTube by the time this show goes live. But, he kept us from being shut out in Game 7 against Dallas. So much appreciative of you always, Oliver Bjorkstrand, But speaking of shutouts, it was the Wranglers who came up big in Game 4 in the Calder Cup Playoffs. Let's take you over to the box score. The final was 1-0 in favor of the Wranglers. Cole Schwint got the lone goal in the game in the second period. Now you'll see that the Coachella Valley Firebirds very steady with their shooting, 9 shots on goal in each frame in each period, and that would have been good for outshooting their opponent, except that the Wranglers, they put Joey Decord through his paces in the first period, 16 shots on goal. Joey Decord was able to put away 31 of 32 shots. The power play was what made the difference for the Calgary Wranglers. Both teams had 3 power play opportunities. Unfortunately, the Coachella Valley Firebirds could not convert on any of their chances, but Calgary did. So these two teams will take the ice, again tomorrow. That's Friday, May 19th. You can watch on AHL, the AHL channel and AHL hockey. The split, the Wranglers and the Coachella Valley Firebirds. The Wranglers got game 1. Coachella Valley won game 2. Coachella Valley dropped game 3 to the Wranglers, but won game 4. So we're going back and forth here. What's it gonna be? We'll find out tomorrow. Some players to watch. Peltier has been great for the Wranglers. 4 goals, 3 assists for 7 points overall. Cole Lind has been amazing for the Coachella Valley Firebirds. We talked about Max McCormick yesterday, Riker Evans yesterday, Alexander True once again coming up big for us in the postseason. And so the culture, and I asked Dan Bilesma, who's the head coach of the Coachella Valley Firebirds, about this. What is it about building a culture? It started with the Checkers because he was on that coaching staff with our prospects. I like to say we were co-parenting with actually the Florida Panthers, who are still in the playoffs right now. So close, yet so far. They're still in the playoffs right now. And asked Dan, you might have, the everydayers, that we played that audio here. And, that it's important. But ultimately, his job is to, Dan Bilesma, Jessica Campbell, we had on the show as well, both of them talking about the importance of really honing in on each individual player. And a part of getting them ready for the big show when they come up and are called to play with the Seattle Kraken is making sure that they get everything that they need with Coachella Valley and then bringing that all together into a beautiful blend that becomes a beautiful culture. And we're still going to get you 2 more Seattle Kraken players, but once again, the amazing Allison Lucan with a great story you should check out, but it really brings home this point that I'm talking about that we're hearing from players, and that is the culture club. The vibes are good. Allison Lucan writes, the Kraken built an expectation of playing for one another and having fun doing it. Along the way, that culture became a big part of this season's success. You can see Alex Wenberg and Oliver Bjorkstrand, who is our player of the day. We're going over his numbers. We did that in the first segment. So yeah, there's lots to look forward to. And as you may remember from one of Allison's now 3 appearances on Locked On Kraken, we talked about leadership and I geeked out. She had this amazing story. There's this model called the Tuckman model. And the Tuckman model talks about how you build a team is by creating an experience or a team building experience where you allow the leaders to rise to the top. But just because you have certain leaders, and Oliver Bjorkstrand was asked about who should be captain. I know a lot of people want Yanni Gourde. I'm not against it, but I also think there's amazing leaders elsewhere. The point is, strong people don't always need just one strong leader because they all can be leaders. And that's the culture that Seattle has been building, and it's super, super duper exciting to see. So coming up on Locked On Kraken, I just want to take us quickly over to, yes, there is still playoff hockey going on. We are not in it. As far as I'm concerned, my personal arch nemesis, the Las Vegas I almost said Aces. That's a different team who also will be playing over the weekend. But the Vegas Golden Knights are in it. I mentioned the Panthers. We co-parented the Charlotte Checkers with them last year. And then you also have, of course, the Dallas Stars. And why am I missing the fourth team? I just completely blanked out. What's going on here? It's Carolina. Speaking of Carolina Charlotte Checkers, they're in Carolina. So people who are all about non-traditional hockey are super happy. I get it. You're always crapped on that you're regionally not a hockey area, but I'm also a little bit fatigued by the narrative. Anyway, let's talk about that coming up. That being the playoffs. Let's talk about that coming up on Locked On Kraken. This episode of Locked On Kraken also brought to you by eBay Motors. And talking about team building, talking about the importance of a team, for a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same way when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need a part and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With the eBay Guaranteed Fix, you can be sure that every part fits right the first time around. And if it doesn't, you get your money back. You add your ride to your garage, you'll look for the green check, and that's how you know the part will fit. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time or on the road. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride! eBay Guaranteed to fit only. Available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Thanks as always for making Locked On Kraken a part of your daily routine. We love you if you make it your first listen of the day. We've been coming in a little later. I'm getting used to a schedule. We've got the WNBA tips off. The Seattle Storm are hosting the Las Vegas Aces. I believe that's on Saturday. And we'll be having more playback watch parties this time, though, for the WNBA kicking off tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time. But stay tuned if you so choose to Black Rosie Media, where you can find some of that. And I know some of our Locked On Kraken everydayers did indeed join us for the WNBA watch parties, including the Seattle Storm playing at Climate Pledge Arena against the Aces in what was a fantastic semifinal series. And again, they tip off this weekend, so it's going to be a good time. As promised, let's take you over to what's happening in the Stanley Cup Playoffs. The Final Four, we were so close. The Final Four is upon us, and I mentioned them. I forgot Carolina. Sorry to Carolina. It's Carolina, Dallas, Florida, and why am I always I always forget one of the teams. Right, Vegas, of course. Yeah, I'm not that sorry that I forgot them. All right, here's what you need to know. You got the bracket. So it's going to be Vegas versus Dallas and the Florida Panthers versus the Carolina Hurricanes. And we get Kraken, if you will. I know. We get Kraken today, Thursday, May 18th. It's going to be Florida at Carolina, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So that's 5 p.m. Pacific time. TNT is carrying that. And then on Friday, we'll get our first look at Dallas at Vegas, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's 5:30 in the Pacific. That's going to be on ESPN. I don't know. Let me know. Question of the day. Do you have a favorite to get out of the Final Four? What team are you really looking for? I want Dallas to be successful in this round, and then I'm indifferent after that. But let me know. Let me know what you're thinking, and we'll keep you up to date. Also, I didn't mention this yesterday. I meant to, but let's keep talking about non-traditional markets. Let's keep Locked On Coyotes and our Coyotes fans in our thoughts and prayers. The city of Tempe voted no to the proposal. There were 3 different options, and they voted no on all 3 to have a state-of-the-art facility that would include moving the Arizona Coyotes to Tempe. So, I mean, they still have Mullet Arena. I've been to Mullet Arena. Great for college hockey. It was really great for the PHF final, but it's tight. It's tight for NHL. So what's going to happen? And if you want to know more, I am definitely not the expert. So I send you over to Locked On Coyotes for that, but we'll keep you up to date on some of those storylines as well. Well, as John Lithgow once said, when he played his character in A League of Their Own, it's been a thin slice of heaven. Thank you, as always, for tuning in, and we look forward to tomorrow's show. We'll do another exit interview. We also will update you on what Ron Francis and Dave Haxtell had to say. They have media availability today, probably right at the time that I'm recording. But we will have all of those updates and keep working through player by player, our guys. And then once we do that, then we'll get into who are the UFAs, who are the RFAs, how much salary cap space do we have? What are we looking like when it comes to the draft? All of that is coming up in the weeks, in the months leading up to the draft. And of course, our third ever season of Seattle Kraken hockey in the National Hockey League. Be kind to yourselves and to each other. Hold fast, stay true. Let's go Kraken. I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.